Hello everyone, I am Jogén Hummingbird. I am with the Footsteps to Peace. I am an intuitive channel, astrologer, Reiki master, and a spiritual life coach. If anything I say in today's reading resonates with you and you would like to book your own personal reading with me, you can head over to my website, jogendivinity.com. That is JOGENDIVINITY.com, and you can click on the offerings tab to take a look at everything that I have available. So I wanted to jump on here and do a reading for the Goddess Collective energy. So in a lot of the readings that I've been doing on the channel recently, we have had a really big influx of divine feminine consciousness being surged through to talk about integrating the divine feminine wisdom, a lot of matrilineal stuff, mother goddess energy, creation, birth as a portal, death and rebirth. Like a lot of that kind of stuff has been coming up in readings. So I wanted to jump on here and do a quick reading for the divine feminine essence because I was guided by spirit to do so. So we had some cards fall out while I was shuffling. So we have Break the Chain, Ancestral Patterns, Healing, Rewriting the Future. How interesting. I've literally never seen this card before. You learn something new every day, but this is really cool. I love this card. I love the energy off this already. So then we also have the Great Gathering. It's all coming together, intuitive hits, Soul Tribe. And then lastly, we have Align Your Life, What is Not Aligned or Needs to Change. So what this feels like energetically for me, the divine feminine essence is really trying to break down everything that we thought was quote unquote working, or that we thought we had in place, or that we thought we had as a safety net or a system. Like everything that is being looked at as not necessarily the masculine, but more so the shadow masculine. We are breaking down all of the shadow patriarchy that has been happening, and we are really stepping into a new paradigm where the divine feminine is taking back her power. And so really what this feels like is just like confirmation for this is with the Break the Chain, Ancestral Patterns, Healing. This feels like some of you, we see Jupiter on there too. So some of you might be working with like trying to cultivate like a goddess like wealth of abundance, or not just material financial prosperity, but like the overall essence of wealth and abundance and well-being and being taken care of, being safe, being comfortable, being nurtured, being cared for by the universe, by the earth, by all. This feels sort of like we are really having to push the boundaries of our consciousness, really having to go really deep within and find out really what we are and really what we aren't, where we come from and where we're going. So this time is really all about like coming together with not just soul tribe. This is what this says, the Great Gathering, talking about like finding your soul tribe, coming into groups with like-minded souls, like vibrational people. But this is also about remembering, putting yourself back together, remembering the soul fragments that have been scattered across wherever for you. This feels like as this healing process is happening from this Break the Chains or this Break the Chain card, this is talking about also like us being able to really cultivate the wisdom from going within to understand how to call back those soul fragments from within us, as opposed to looking around and scavenging and praying and hoping that we do something and we find something, you know. One of the cards just fell, so it's the Align Your Life card. So what's not aligned or needs to change? This is really talking about like the time to integrate all this wisdom that you have gathered from going in and recalling the soul fragments, whether or not this is something that's already happened for you or this is something that is going to happen. This feels like the ever unfolding process of what the divine feminine consciousness is experiencing on Earth at this time. This is really, 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 really powerful, intense change. So I want to go ahead and pull some more cards as well to get some further messages. So answer the call. What is your soul calling you to do? This, like we were talking about, going within with the Break the Chain and the Great Gathering, the soul remembrance. Like this is okay. Now that you've remembered, now that you have reintegrated this awareness of who you really are, of what you're really here to do, what are you going to do? Are you going to pay attention to what your soul is saying? Are you going to listen? Are you going to answer the call? Are you going to? Or are you going to continue down the path of healing? Or are you just like, not that the path of healing isn't beneficial. There's I think we were talking about this in one of the Mars direct transit videos, but there's a trap that we can get falling in, like we can fall into a trap that's called the healer's trap in our healing journey, where we keep diving into our consciousness to find things that are wrong for the sake of healing them, for the sake of overcoming them, or for the sake of transcending them, or alchemizing, or becoming more conscious, or whatever spiritual reason it is. This is like a time where instead of choosing to go into the cave over and over and over and over and over and over again, now that you've been in the cave before, are you going to listen to what's calling you from outside the cave? Are you going to let yourself come out of the darkness? Are you going, because the time is now. The time is now to be doing this. Like, what's not aligned? What needs to change? You're not in alignment with living in the cave anymore. You're asking and praying for miracles and abundance and all these beautiful things from life and expansion and like consciousness and healthy diet and loving people, soul tribe, with this soul gathering that we were where is it? You know what I'm talking about. The soul gathering earlier. Whatever it is, this is like, okay, are you going to show the universe? Are you going to take aligned action? Not in the sense that you need to constantly be doing something in order to get into alignment. That is the shadow masculine. That is like burnout zone. But then there's also the shadow feminine of like not doing anything at all and only feeling your way into alignment. There's shadow frequencies on both sides. Not that those are inherently negative or positive situations to be in on either side, but whenever you experience them in a lower vibrational state of consciousness, that can be negative. And so this is a time to really find the balance between like the feminine, the masculine, the sacred being, and the sacred doing. So this is like, okay, now that you've been in the sacred being, in the darkness, you've just been being, you've just been absorbing, you've just been existing. This is time, now that you're in the aligned frequency of truth, now that you are in the aligned frequency of understanding who you really are right now, what you're here to do, now is the time to take aligned action, because you are in the alignment with that frequency of the timeline that you were trying to call in, okay? So let's go ahead and pull some more messages, and I want to pull from the Starseed deck this time. We've been pulling from the Work Your Light. I want to pull some Starseed messages as well. So perspective, none of this matters, zoom out, common ground. So let go of all of what you previously thought. This card for me, it's like, I've had this card show up quite a few times recently, not just in like readings for people, but also like in my personal life and in my own practice for myself. So this card, when I see it, it reminds me very much so of like the concept of ego death. The concept of ego death being where you no longer understand separation between you and things around you. Like your sense of separation between whatever you thought your version of self was and whatever everything else is dissolved and separated, and they're unified in the loving awareness of unconditional love. At least in my experience, it's what my ego death was like. So whenever I see this card, it makes me think of just like, okay, remember that the only thing that is real is love. Because this is the picture of Earth. Like, if you can see, it's Earth way zoomed out, like way, way out there. Like, you can't even see the moon. Like, it's way out here. So Earth is the place where all the mundane things are, where all the distractions are, where all the physical manifestations of things are. Not necessarily only on Earth. Obviously, we have galaxies and planets and stars all across the universe. But in the Earth realm, on the Earth plane, on Earth, period, like this is where all of our distractions, all of our stimulus is, where all of our people are, opinions, projections, society, like everything left and right is here on Earth. All these material things that you can see, touch, taste, smell, feel, they're all here. So whenever you zoom out of just your here-ness and understand, okay, I'm a being. I'm a human being. What does that mean? I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, rather. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. So what does that mean? Zoom out of everything that is going on in this earth realm that is distracting you from who you are, what your purpose is, what you're here to do, what you're here to embody, what you're here to teach other people how to do. This is time to like zoom the fuck out from like all of the insecurities, the reasons why you shouldn't be doing something, or like reasons why you can't, I should say, or reasons why you need to wait longer, or you don't think you're ready enough, or you don't think you can do X, Y, and Z without this much credential or this much certification or without these proper tools. Not fucking true. There are some creative essences, like the feminine essence is creative energy. It's life force energy. It's what gives life. It was what brings life. So if we can interact with that energy to create, to bring new life, to bring about new consciousness, to bring about new creations, then let's go ahead and fucking do that. Because that is what the feminine essence is for. It is for life to be created through. Masculine essence is the actual structure. It is the foundation. It is the housing. It is the like backbone, really. It's not that it doesn't have consciousness, but its purpose innately, unconsciously, is just structure and stability. So for the feminine essence, that is what brings dynamism. That's what brings creativity. It's what brings the expression, the contrast, duality. That's literally what feminine essence is. So if we can zoom out from all the distractions that society is placing on us to keep us distracted from our true selves, if we can bring our awareness right back to our highest self, if we can zoom out and realize that none of what's going on around you matters. Not that it doesn't matter in a sense that it has no relevance or importance to what your soul is here to learn, but it has no relevance in 5 fucking years. It has no relevance in 5 fucking years. It has no relevance probably in 50 fucking years. So chill out. In 50 years, you'll probably either be really old or really, really dead. Like, chances are. So this doesn't really matter. And also, guess what? You were a soul having a human experience. You've done this before. You've done it many times before. You're doing it across multiple levels of awareness and consciousness and dimensions and realities in different ways that aren't even 100% human or 100% aware or 100% physically manifest. Like, there are things going on beyond your human perception that quote unquote matter more than what your human can perceive right now. So let's take a look at these other 2 cards to wrap this up. So we have the Seas of Mintaka, seeing potential, bringing unconsciousness to light. This is what we've been talking about. And then Star Brothers, Horus energy, protection, loyalty, safety, trust. This is that divine masculine. This is the son of Isis, who is the lovely goddess behind me that I work with all the time. So this is very interesting that we have this confirmation coming up, because I very much so felt like when I was channeling there for the past couple minutes that I was definitely channeling like an extension of Isis. But so Horus, the divine child, really talks about like I like the thing about it. There's a whole plethora of ways that you could look at Horus. Like Horus's story, like you can either look at it as like the story of a vengeance, of like avenging the father, of like taking back what's rightfully yours, or you can look at it as a story of bringing hope and bringing light and bringing truth and bringing sovereignty and harmony and restoring balance, as opposed to avenging something negative that happened. There's a lot of different polarities within the stories that you hear, and there's a lot of different ways that stories have been changed and told throughout different periods in history. So take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Even what I say, just do your own research. But from my perception of the story of Horus and my work with that archetype energetically, this is very much about bringing the truth, bringing the light, like I was talking about with that latter half of explaining my perspective on Horus. Like this is all about understanding that there is some element of destruction. There is some element of lower vibrational force. And so how can I prepare myself? How can I root myself in my truth? How can I ground myself into my highest expression of my light? How can I work with my ancestors? How can I tune in with the divine? How can I embody the divine and face my darkness as a physical reflection, a manifestation, whether it's outside of me or inside of me? How can I face my darkness while remaining in integrity with my truth and integrity with all of humanity, the collective, all of consciousness? So that is what Horus represents to me. And so I feel very compelled to tell you guys, after zooming out of this perspective, after just like getting rid of all the distractions and tuning into who you really are again, this is when you can understand that you are truly safe. You are always truly loved. You are always truly in alignment because your soul is always aware of what it is doing. And so your soul, being the essence of unconditional love in fifth dimensional consciousness, is projecting that love and focusing it so physically so that you are manifest into the physical reality. And so all of the basis of your existence is being held with loving awareness in every other level of existence. So this is really what Horus represents for me, is like this understanding that as I am physically manifest here, as I am the manifest, the masculine essence expression of the feminine consciousness that is holding an unconditional love frequency for me to be projected, to express here, I am going to utilize this masculine house for the vessel of the feminine consciousness to finally express through, because it's holding space for the masculine to exist. So I need my masculine consciousness as I am here to hold space for the expression of my feminine essence, so I can bring harmony to my divine feminine and my divine masculine. That is what the Horus energy represents. And so I feel like this is what some of you may or may not be going through right now, this process of bringing harmony to that. When you zoom out, when you get rid of everything that is unaligned, when you finally listen to what your soul has in store for you, you bring the unconsciousness to light. This is Sesamantaka, this is water, this is the element emotions, this is unconsciousness, this is the dream realm. So understand that beyond this physical vessel, the goddess, the feminine essence, is the energy of unconditional love, is the essence of source, is the essence of God, goddess, really. So this energy is always available and accessible, and you are never derived of it. You are never deprived of it. You are derived of it, but you are never deprived of it, I should say. You are always being loved by the universe, even when it doesn't feel like it. I promise. So that is what I feel called. I'm going to go ahead and end it there, but that is what I feel called to share with you guys from this Goddess Collective energy reading. That was a powerful channel. I'm getting a little like mixed words because I'm coming back here. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching today's reading. If you resonated or you enjoyed it, then go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to the Footsteps to Peace and click the notification bell icon so you are notified every time we upload a new video for you. And then if you resonate with anything said here again and you want to book your own personal reading with me, all of my information is down below in the description as well as my socials. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Many blessings.